It seems you can do anything in American football short of using a Tommy gun, so you mustn't expect me to explain the rules.
The players wear so much clothing, it's a wonder they can move at all.
Great deal for all the players in the league and everything else. Go out there and play this ball game like I know you can play it. Let's go!
This is the CBS Sunday Night News. Bill Plant reporting, good evening. Super Bowl 28 ended tonight in Atlanta as a football tragic comedy, with the Dallas Cowboys rallying to beat the Buffalo Bills 30-13. The Bills returned home as the only American pro team in any sport to lose the championship showdown 4 consecutive times.
Welcome back to Any Given Wednesday, the NFL podcast hosted by two overseas fans who make up what they lack in playing experience with a total commitment to buying merch.
That's very true, mate. But although I played as well. I looked at
yeah, okay. Well, I'll ask you about that in a second. How do you feel about all the gear, some idea being our motto?
Yeah, too much gear, not enough of an idea. Perfect.
Yeah, that's it.
This is nice. Now look at this. I bought this in the Packer shop. This is
it's beautiful, Mike.
Right, you got to guess the number then. Why 19? I'll give you a clue.
Go on.
It says EST on it as well.
What? So was it established in
1919?
1919. Really nice.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's class.
I should try to do a bit of Packers merch every week if I can. I
should let listeners know that you brought me a little beer holder. You didn't come back empty-handed for your friend, so that's good to know.
No, I spent about $560 on myself, and I think it was $5 on you.
Yeah, so. Not quite the shirt I was looking for, or the
That might have been free. They might have given us away at the stadium.
Who's to say?
That's the thought that counts, isn't it?
Who's to say? It's definitely the thought that counts. Each week, it is our aim to help your understanding of the present-day NFL by taking an affectionate look back through its fascinating and glorious past. So whether you're a rookie fan who's only just started dipping their toe into half an hour of red zone on a Sunday, or a seasoned veteran who stays up late into the week poring over coaches' film, this is the pod for you. I'm Tom Parry, the rookie long snapper who's just looking to get the ball safely delivered to my veteran kicker who's got a leg like a piston engine, the temperament of a surgeon, and when the clutch situation arrives, he never fails to split the uprights. He's Hollywood handsome, he's cowboy tough. It's Mr. Mike Bubbins,
yes,
everybody.
Please. Yes, please. I think of myself as a kicker. Who would I be as a kicker? I'd be George Blanda, the old Oakland Raiders kicker who started off his life as a quarterback and when they also kicked.
What? So he transferred
the kicking, but played until I remember thinking at the time the ripe old age. I remember thinking he was the oldest looking bloke in the. Yeah. I think Blanda was like 42 and he retired. It's like the same age as Tom Brady, but he looked about 82. He looked rock.
Yeah. Was that the way it used to be then? Did the quarterbacks used to also kick?
Yeah, and punt. Yeah, to kick and punt. Punt more so than kick, actually. Yeah.
We're going to be talking a lot about kickers this week, I think, when we get onto our subject matter. I've got, we can get deep into that subject soon.
Did you enjoy kickoff, by the way, first week of the season?
Wow, I was going to say that. I mean, we're recording this just after the first week of the NFL season has begun, and what a week it was. It was great. I mean, some fantastic games, and the Buffalo Bills Baltimore Ravens game was one for the ages, and
unbelievable.
I mean, I was saying this on my friend's WhatsApp group where we discussed the NFL. What a time to be getting into the NFL!
Hang on a minute. How many other men do you talk to the NFL about? What?
Well, put it this way: it's like my WhatsApp.
Cut me deep, that is.
It's only because I'm not in the Sunday club. It's because I can't get to the bar.
Oh man!
What a time to be getting into the NFL! Like when you look at like the kind of quarterbacks and the battles that are going on, particularly in the AFC, like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson just duking it out like they do every season, and like they're back and the rematches, and they'll probably play each other in the postseason.
It really is for quarterbacks. Like, they always used to say you're lucky to get like 2 or 3 good quarterbacks in the league at any one time. Yeah. There's a lot of good quarterbacks at the moment.
Oh, it's phenomenal. And
that Baltimore team, I think they said, I read some mad statistic, and it was like the number of times that a team that scored 40 points or more and run for 235 yards plus on the ground had lost a game. Was never in 170 times.
No way. Amazing.
And that was 170 and one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was absolutely one for the ages, and it's going to be a great season. So if you are interested, I'm sure you are interested because you listen to this podcast, but take the time out this week to look at the highlights because again, and it wasn't the only one. Like last night, the Bears Vikings, there was an incredible comeback. The thing
as well.
Go on.
These days is if you miss just the next day, if you Google like Buffalo Bills, right? Google brings up like a really nice 10-minute highlight package. You can have your breakfast, have a cup of coffee, have a slice of toast or whatever. Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Clusters, whatever you want to eat. Right?
Sponsor, #ad.
And there's a really good little highlight package on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so easy to consume these days.
Yes, and like you said, there's also, if you do the Game Pass, then you can watch a game in 40 minutes where they take out all the breaks, they take out everything else, and you just see the football, and it lasts for 40 minutes. And so there are great ways to kind of get through the games.
Also, I've slated Game Pass in the past, but I've got to say the coverage this year, when originally, and I might be wrong, but I think I'm right.
Yep.
They would black out Sky games on Game Pass, which is a bit frustrating for me because the Packers are on quite a bit and then I wouldn't be able to see them on Game Pass.
Yeah.
But now, because Sky have got so many games, which are also good in itself, and Channel 5 got games, I think that looks like it's gone. You can get all the games back on Game Pass as well. So for me, it's lovely. And
YouTube are doing games. Amazon Prime are doing games. So there's going to be a few that you can watch. Because that's what I would say is it's great getting the highlights, but it also make sure you give yourself a chance to watch a full game and watch it unfold, because it reminds me, American football reminds me a little bit of, like people who don't like Test cricket because they say, oh, it's boring and nothing ever happens. But it's like, if you can, exactly. But if you can invest the time in a 5-day test match, then fucking hell, when it pays off, sorry, if you can invest your time in a 5-day test match, when it pays off, it really pays off. And it's the same with an American football game. If you can take out the 2.5 hours and watch the full broadcast, the sort like discussing the Bills Ravens, and it's some of the games we'll come to later on in our topic this week.
Ebb and flow, isn't it?
The ebb and flow. And the one thing that's incredible about American football is it's so hard to call that a game's done, because momentum can shift so quickly and suddenly the game just turns and it's like the wind has changed. And there was, some of the comebacks this week, there isn't a sport quite like it in that way. And what seems like an insurmountable lead can suddenly disappear and a team can suddenly be in disarray and it all changes. It's amazing.
It's also for UK fans. Obviously, if you live in North America, you're used to it. The time it takes is always brought up by people who want to knock the game. Always mentioned. It was 3 hours, mate. Yes, but you know what those 3 hours are? They're me and usually my friends together, shooting the shit, watching a game of football, having a couple of beers. It's the best time of the week. Well, I don't want that to be over quickly. I'm not thinking, I can't wait till this gets over. So these people are bugger off out of my house and I go back to sitting on the sofa drinking coffee. I never think that. Who's in a rush for good times to end? Yeah. What manner of oddball? I don't get it. I play golf, right? For 4 hours, mate. Yes.
Yeah.
4 hours of walking around a nice golf course with my friends. Bit of fresh air, bit of exercise, bit of competition. I'm not dreading every minute, thinking I could be back home now doing nothing.
Right, well, before we get on with this week's topic, we've got a few messages to get through. Get in touch if you have any questions for us. Remember, no question too stupid. If there's something you just don't understand about the game, we're the boys to sort you out. You can come here. It's a safe space. If you want to tell us how you got into the NFL, how did you find your team, the weirder reasons, the better. And are you in search of a team? Are you looking for a franchise? Our producer, our very own producer Reese, was franchiseless until this week, and he sent us a message which we could play. Actually, we'll play it out now.
So this is producer Reese. I have two teams I can't decide between to support, the Patriots and the Raiders. The Patriots I'm leaning towards because I live in a part of Canada that is only a 10-hour drive from the stadium, and there's a lot of local support here. So there's something quite nice about having a team where you see like bumper stickers and there's a sizable kind of support around the area in a community sense. The Raiders, so when we moved to Canada, we all chose NHL teams as a family. I picked the Vegas Golden Knights because I wanted an excuse to go to Vegas, and the Raiders just seem like probably one of the coolest teams, and also it gives me two reasons to go to Vegas at some point, which my wife fully supports, and I would like you to help me choose.
So there you go. He was leaving it up to the fates. It was between the Raiders or the Patriots, who happened to be playing this week, and so it was down to whoever won the game earned Reese's support, and the Raiders won.
Showed Reese, use the force.
Yeah,
that's not chose bad. Well, didn't he?
That's it. Raiders.
Not bad.
Yeah. So,
will be one is one I bet is probably my best impression.
Yeah, it was a really good one.
Thank you.
Well, let me think. Can I do?
Give me something to say.
Well, why don't you do? Welcome to Any Given Wednesday. We've got.
Welcome to Any Given Wednesday. This is the pod you're looking for.
Great. Oh, you segued into Yoda there.
He did a bit at the end.
I'm seeing if I can back you up with a Chewie.
Stretch out, Tom. Use the force. Chewbacca. Now, there's a name I've not heard in a long time. A very long time. Anyway, so the upshot is...
Oh, yeah.
You went for the Raiders.
Reese is a Raiders fan, which is good for us because when it comes to Series 2 or Series 3 and we're going to all of our teams, it means we get to go on a jolly to Vegas.
Oh, come on. Research.
So much more interesting than going to New England for me. I'm so pleased. Right, so... I've got a message to read out as well, which came from my brother-in-law, Mike. This is the kind of thing you see I'm up against. He sent a message and say, listening to Any Given Wednesday, glad that it's back. Although I thought the Legion of Boom was Seattle's defensive backfield, not its O-line, like you said. Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, etc.
Yeah, I think he's right,
Brackets, no Googling involved, just ridiculous ability to remember sporting
knowledge. We should also
mention
mention at this point, that is a good point by the brother-in-law. When we say we'll answer any question, it may not be the right answer.
Oh, yeah. We never claim to know what we're talking about.
We'll answer it.
If you want accuracy about what we're talking about, you've come to the wrong place. There's lots of other NFL podcasts out there that know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
I'll point them in the direction of them. It's not why we're here, mate. I told him I'd read that.
Listen to Jason Bell, and he'll sort you out. He knows the score. God, he's handsome. I met him.
Oh, did you?
I met him, yeah, and I met OC as well. And
great.
Two really sharply dressed men in great shape. That beautiful skin, handsome, well dressed.
They'll say the same about us, Mike. They'll say the same about us when we see him at the podcast awards next year.
Oh, I hope so.
What did you get to chat to them?
I did, yeah. When I did that, when I saw you at Spurs, when I had that little courtesy of the NFL, they took me to the Packers Giants game. Remember? And I saw you outside the stadium.
I remember, Mike. I saw you outside the stadium, and then I went to my ticket that I'd paid for, and it was way up at the back, out the end zone, where you kind of had to squint to see the pitch. And then I saw this figure emerge from the halfway tunnel and sit exactly on the halfway line. And tickets that had been given. Yeah,
yeah. And I lit the front row. I mean, I was, I
remember it well, Mike. Yeah.
On the way back, Steve brought a couple of beers back and bumped into the bloke I was chatting to and said, "Oh, sorry, mate." I said, "That's it, Steve. Just spill a beer all over Dizzy Rascal." And he went, "What?" And it was Dizzy Rascal. And it was like, I think Idris Elba was there. But I did wave up at you at one point. I don't know if you saw it.
No, you're a real gent. Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, but I went on the sideline and I met Jason and OC then. Handsome man. You don't want to be, I mean, I'm out of shape these days, but when you're out of shape and you meet those boys on the sideline.
Yeah, that's it.
You look like As my old friend Craig used to say, 2 pounds of jelly in a £1 bag.
It's what do you make of the atmosphere at those UK NFL games? Because it's a strange feeling, isn't it?
It's
because
a strange one because there's all the teams represented, right?
Yeah, everyone's there to kind of celebrate the fact that they like the NFL. And so you look around the stadium and everyone's wearing their own jerseys, and it kind of has the feel of a pre-season friendly, really.
This is why, controversially, Tom, I don't think a UK franchise, people seem to think that it's imminent. I don't think we'll see it for a long time.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I'm never going to be a London fan. I'm a Packers fan, right?
Yeah.
They'll be my second team if there's a team here, but they won't be my team.
Yes, but do you not think they would pick up a lot of support from the
youngsters
people?
coming through? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's the
It'll be a long-term
game,
project. But I think for the first 10 or 15 years that you have that sort of same sort of feel you get now, which is a bit of a celebration of football.
Yeah. I mean, and also, I'm interested. Do people want a London team? Like, part of the thing that I like about following American football is this kind of it's exciting the places. Like, it's exciting to be like, oh, I support San Francisco or Los Angeles, the Las Vegas. Like, there's a certain degree of escapism that, like, I'm not sure there is a desire for, like, oh, I wish Wolverhampton had its own NFL franchise. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's necessarily.
That's essential, though.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right.
We should. I'm not sure. At one pod, we should just at least mention the British football teams over the years.
Yeah, we could do a special of that if you want.
There's iterations.
Well, get in touch, listeners. If you would want a UK-based franchise, what do you think it would be? Also, get in touch if you think
your name would be good.
Yeah, I was going to say, or if your town or city had its own NFL franchise, what do you think it should be called? That's something else I'll be interested.
There were some pearlers back in the days of the British American football scene, though. Give me a city and I'll tell you, or a town, I'll tell you what their team, because almost every big city and town had a team back in the 80s.
Did Manchester have one?
They had more than one. They had the Manchester All-Stars and the Manchester Spartans, and probably others as well.
Did they go as far as Glasgow?
Yeah, they were the Glasgow. I know it's the name of the rugby team now, but they think they were the Glasgow Warriors, or were they the Glasgow Lions? I can't remember, but there was definitely a team.
It's a niche party trick, but it's a good one.
Cardiff had 3. London had many.
What were your Cardiff teams?
There were the Tiger Bay Warriors. There were the Cardiff Tigers. There were the Cardiff Mets. Yeah. Swansea Dragons. Newport Mustangs.
And how old were you when this was going on? Did you...
Teenager, early teens.
So is this where, did you think you stood a chance of playing for one of those teams one day?
Oh, God, I could play for one of them now. Mate, I thought I was going to win the NFL. I was convinced. We're talking about, I don't want to play for Dunstable Cowboys. I wanted to play for the Green Bay Packers, mate. I got nothing against the Brighton B-52s, but I set my sights higher.
Right. Let's get into some correspondence. If you want to leave us a voice message, then go to www.speakpipe.com/anygivenpod. We've got a couple of speak pipes. You want to hear them, Bobs?
Yes, please, mate.
Okay, here we go. Let's hear them. Let's say speak pipe number 1.
Hello, chaps. Love the new podcast. Anything with the ultimate sex bomb Mike Bubbins involved, and I'm all in. After picking the Vikings as my team through a Choose Your NFL Team questionnaire in 2014, I still have little to no knowledge of what they're actually about. So could you give me a brief summary of my, in invert commas, team's history and what I can expect this season? Thank you. All the best.
Vikings. Of course, a divisional rival of ours, NFC North.
Yeah. And
one of the best nicknames of all time was their defense back in the day, the Purple People Eaters.
The Purple People Eaters, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What I'd say about the Vikings is, and this will lead us into later on when we get on today's topic, but they are one of 2 teams to get to 4 Super Bowl finals and lose them all. So they still haven't won a Super Bowl.
No.
And I think that becomes part of a team's identity. They become nearly men almost. And, you know,
good uniforms, good look, good
I think it does tick. What that does, I think, is ticks a lot of boxes in terms of things I like about NFL franchises, which is cold weather team. They are a cold weather team. Although, do they play in a dome? They play in a dome, do they now?
They do, yes.
But a lot of they used to be like proper cold weather team, kind of perennial underdogs because of the fact that they haven't won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
which I quite like that as well. Currently very well placed, have a very good new head coach, or like he's been there for a couple of seasons now, young guy, and very talented kind of team. So not, and in the most exciting division in the league, you'd say now, the NFC North.
I think so. Yeah.
But
stick with it though. Stick with it. That's the vagaries of the draft and the salary cap. But I think when you got a team like Green Bay in a division that have a history of winning, I think you mentioned momentum earlier, but you just mentioned then about it becomes part of your identity. I'm always waiting, even when we have a fallow season at Green Bay, I'm waiting for the next good season. It tends to be just around the corner. Yeah, stick with the Vikes.
And we should say as well, you also have probably the best wide receiver in the game and one of the best wide receivers that's ever played the game, a guy called Justin Jefferson, who is poetry in motion.
Oh, yeah.
So
he's box office.
Yeah, you got to enjoy. Players like him don't come along very often, so you got to enjoy that.
Old school Vikings players. You had Alan Page, was a really good Viking player. You had Jan Stenerud. Yeah, there've been some good players there over the years, pal.
Great. Well, there you go. Thanks for getting in touch.
Thanks for the compliment as well. Thank you for the compliment.
I did think it was going to be me at the end of that sentence, but
I wasn't laughing. That laugh was mistimed. Then I wasn't laughing at that's preposterous. I just laughed. I've gone with the silver hair though, Tom. I've gone back to natural. What do you think?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, suits you.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Right, let's hear speak pipe number 2.
Hi, both. Paul Gimson here from Cardiff, and ringing in response to the question about why you support a team. So I'm the same age as you, Mike, and I remember watching American football on Channel 4, but never really stuck with it. Been watching it on a Sunday night over the last couple of years, really got back into it, but not really got behind a team. Been watching with my son. And so we decided we were going to get behind a franchise this year. So basically, we've gone for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the reason being is that's who we happen to be able to get tickets for. So we're going to go and watch them in Wembley. And I think it was the Jags versus the Rams.
Oh,
and out of those two animals, my son preferred a Jaguar. So we're going for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So what I need you to do, I suppose, is, take the piss out of me a bit for going for such an obvious choice. What's my defense when people make fun of me for getting behind them? What's my comeback? What's some of the highlights and some of the good points I can talk about when I'm talking about the Jags? Because obviously I'm now prepared to die for them. So thanks for listening. Enjoying the show. Keep up the good work. All the best. Bye.
That's a good one. Thank you very much for that.
Love that.
Well, of course, we mentioned like a UK franchise. The one that was most likely to be relocated at any point would be Jacksonville, because the owners are obviously part. Is he part owner of or full owner of Spurs as well?
Yeah, I mean they're sort of seen as London's team, aren't they? Because they play here every year. So I think that's a great defence to say, look, it's the team that I can go and see year on year, and and see them improve and get better.
Mention your carbon footprint if that helps.
Yeah, that's it.
You can do that. Can you saving the planet by being a Jacksonville Jaguars fan of the UK?
They're also one of
them because they're a new. I always think of those as new teams still, even though they're not new anymore.
Yeah, but they don't have kind of a glorious history. They're not a historic franchise.
They're like Carolina, right? They're the same sort of thing.
Yeah, they're one of the newest franchises. Yeah, I mean, what you could say from that point of view is that I think they're one of the 4 teams that have never ever won a Super Bowl as well. Never been to one. Never been to a Super Bowl. Never won one. That's there's 4 teams. And so in that way, you can't be accused of glory hunting. You're kind of supporting a team from the ground up, and then
you go to see a game over there. You're in Florida, very nice.
Yeah, and when you do get to see them get to a Super Bowl or something, it'll be, for the first time for everyone with the franchise. So that'll be exciting.
You'll be able to say, well, actually, mate, I've been supporting these since the 2020s. When you get to the Super Bowl in like 2060, you'll be able to say, mate, I've been supporting these for 40 plus years.
People will say, why you got a 20 on your shirt? I say, 20s. The Packers are 1919. I'm 2020. And they've got, their franchise quarterback at the moment is Trevor Lawrence, isn't it? Who has when he was first drafted, people said this guy's going to be a generational talent, and that hasn't necessarily manifested itself.
Hard position, man, in the NFL. Playing NFL quarterback is, I'm going to say, the most difficult position in professional sport.
And when he joined the league, he hadn't lost a game. Did you know that he'd gone through his high school and
in high school as well
and college career without losing a game? I think, or maybe it was just at college. But I know that he had like a complete winning record. What's that?
He's making up for it now.
Yeah, I know, that's it. But you've also just drafted, isn't it Travis Hunter they've just drafted as well, who was like the kind of most sought after player in that draft, who is going to try and do a Deion Sanders and play wide receiver and cornerback for the first time in years. So he's going to be a player who plays. So that's something that's really exciting for you to look out for, because that doesn't happen a lot.
Well, there we go. There's two reasons. Well, there's three. You're not a glory hunter.
Yep.
You got the only two-way player in the league.
Yep.
Playing old school football. And they're the only team that plays in the UK every year. So you and your boy can go and support them in London. Three reasons for you.
Happy days. If you're looking for a franchise, get in touch. Send us a speak pipe, and we will sort you out. Or if you want to find out more about your franchise, also if you've got a suggestion why we should look at your franchise and a subject that you think is interesting, for an episode, then please do get in touch. Because let's get on to this week's subject.
Let's do it.
I had a great time looking into this story and this franchise. We are looking at, speaking of kind of perennial underdogs, we're looking at the Buffalo Bills and their 4 consecutive Super Bowl defeats. Never been done before or since. No team's ever got to 4 consecutive Super Bowls, but they lost all 4 of them.
Man.
So brutal. Yeah. We're looking at, but it's 1990 to 1993. So they were in a couple of the Super Bowls that we covered last time out when we were looking at Jerry Jones's Cowboys. They were the opposition for 2 of those. But it's an incredible story, this, and there's a lot to unpack about the game in it. Do you remember this team?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I used to really like Jim Kelly. Loved Thurman Thomas. I mean, there was lots of... You talk about like a cold weather football team. They were the team that would have the absolute... Because of where they were, they would have blizzards and there'd be 3 feet of snow on the field. And I always liked the Buffalo Bills. I really like the uniforms. The old red, white, and blue look really cool always.
Yeah.
They were... When he bought like your NFL notebooks and diaries and that in the 80s, they quite often would have that with the Bills on it because of the colour scheme.
It's a good logo.
So, my dad was on a business trip to Atlanta back in the 90s, early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember him coming back and saying he'd met this American football player in the lift. And they get chatting about stuff, and a big guy, like 6'4". And from doing the maths, and I worked out that my dad had met Jim Kelly.
No.
Yeah.
That's class. That's really good.
Oh, my God.
So we should say Jim Kelly's the quarterback.
Yeah.
He was the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. What a player and what a man.
There's a really good doc called The Missing Rings about, which I think you get on YouTube now. It used to be on, I can't remember what it was before, but it's definitely on YouTube now. And that's about teams that didn't win Super Bowls. There was the Brilliant America's Game series about teams that won Super Bowls in their Super Bowl winner season. They did one called The Missing Rings about teams that didn't. And the first one I watched was the one about Buffalo with the 4 in a row. Because 4 in a row.
Yeah, it's called The Four Falls of Buffalo. And it is an emotional roller coaster.
I went to Buffalo when I was like 19. I've been to Buffalo, right? It's such an unglamorous place. And I'm not doing it a disservice there, right? But I thought, you're up there, in New York State. It's freezing cold. It's the old Rich Stadium, the old outdoor field up there. Proper blue collar team.
Yeah.
And Buffalo was always playing second fiddle to all the big cities in New York. And the 2 New York teams didn't even play in the state. They both played in New Jersey, right? So they were the only team playing in New York State. And I think the first game I ever saw, I think I mentioned it on the pod a week or two ago, about the Green Bay game, was a preseason Buffalo against Green Bay, because they would play they would play for a couple of years a preseason game in Toronto. So I went down to watch that, because they just over the border there, But I really liked Marv Levy, the coach. I mean, do you know what was so nice about this? He talks he's in this at the press conference. He was 60, and he said he told me he's 57 because it sounded better, right? And I thought, I wonder when he passed away, Marv, because he's a flipping legend of a bloke, right?
Yeah,
he's still alive. He's 100.
Amazing. He's 100.
So I said to my wife, I said, I wonder what he's doing. I said, if he was alive now, he'd be 100. And I looked into him. Oh, he is alive, and he is 100.
Yeah. He's this kind of, he's almost like a Hollywood character of an NFL coach. He's kind of like this.
I don't make him like that anymore.
Churchill quoting, like poetry, like
an English history degree from Harvard.
Yeah, there you go. And so, like, after they lose the first Super Bowl, he kind of goes, I was reminded of a poem that my mother used to, gave me in a book of poems. And he recites this poem to his players in the changing rooms. And it's like, God damn it, they don't make him like that anymore. That's the stuff. And he's kind of this wise guy who is kind of, he's got this wisdom about him. And you just root for him so much. It's this incredible kind of, this story is this incredible balance of, they get this label of perennial losers and that they can never get the job done. And yet they have this incredible achievement of going to the Super Bowl 4 times. And that
they won the AFC Championship 4 times in a row.
Yeah, it's the sign of one of the greatest teams of all time, basically. And yet, what comes with it is a label of being a loser. And it's like it's a really emotional, very personal story. And you see these men who had these incredible careers, but because they couldn't get over the line, that kind of has sat with them for the rest of their lives.
And it makes you think, then, doesn't it? When I watched the doc, and when I read about it at the time. Would you rather never go to a Super Bowl, or would you rather go to 4 Super Bowls and lose every one? Yeah. It's such a, and of course, I think nothing less of the players, and they're obviously proud of that team, and proud of their teammates, and proud of their coach, and proud of their win-loss record over that time. But they just couldn't get it done in the big game.
Yeah,
they got absolutely smashed in the one. The other we'll have to talk about Scott Norwood in the first one.
Let's unpack it. Let's go through it one. Let's go through it one at a time. So let's go back to the beginning. So I've got a question for you, which because I don't quite understand this when I was watching the doc and when I was reading in about Jim Kelly. Part of their success was the speed of their offense. Yeah. And what got them to that first Super Bowl and why they took the NFL by storm is that they were running a no-huddle offense the vast majority of the time. So my question to you is what is that? And why don't more teams do it more often if it is so effective? So, obviously, no-huddle offense means you're not getting the offense together to discuss what the play is going to be. You're just lining up and you're going, and you're lining up and going. You're not giving their defense a chance to recover.
Yeah, well, if you don't make substitutions, they can't substitute either. That's the thing, right? So if you swap a player over, you have to give the defense time to swap over players as well.
Yeah.
If you keep the same 11 on the field, they've got to keep the same 11 on the field, right? So a no-huddle offense, which they did really well, they're still scripted, but they'll be scripted in batches. And there'll be a lot of audible stuff on at the line of scrimmage. Kelly will call out the audible. And this is before they mic'd up the quarterbacks too, bear in mind. So there'll be signals coming in from the coach and stuff. And they tended, not always, but you play with a shotgun snap quite often with these formations as well. So that you get down there, snap the ball, and we're off, right,
Yeah.
Tend to be quite often a one-back offense as well, so they had Thurman Thomas in the backfield there. I think the reason it doesn't, you'll see a wrinkle in the NFL and something will work amazingly well.
Yeah.
Until defensive coaches do their homework and they do their 16-hour-day shifts and sleep in and bring their camp bed into work, and they do.
Yeah.
And they'll work out how to defend it. So I remember when Cordell Stewart at the Steelers was playing that sort of the slash Stewart, that sort of run-pass option he ran all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they sort of run like a wishbone offense as well. And they thought, God, this is amazing. This is how'd you defend against this? Well, they were running wishbone offenses in the 30s, and they just work it out. Yeah. And then it gets forgotten about, and then 50 years later they start doing it again.
It's cyclical.
Defensive coaches work it out, and they change the personnel, and they. But yeah, that no huddle. If you've got an intelligent team that's really well conditioned, then that's a great way of playing football. But obviously, there's weaknesses to it because you're stuck with the personnel that's on the field at the time.
Yeah, and I mean, part of this the story of their first Super Bowl defeat is that they get to Tampa, where the Super Bowl is, Super Bowl 25, and they're up against the Giants, and their defensive coordinator, a name that everyone might recognize, Bill Belichick, who is obviously one of the great defensive minds of the modern game, and he designed the gameplay that just stopped their most effective weapon. He was able to
that's what Belichick's known for. He would find what do you do best? We'll stop you doing that.
Yeah, there was that Rams Super Bowl a few years ago, wasn't there? Where the Rams were like an unstoppable offensive team, and everyone was like, no one can figure out this team. They're going to score so highly. And the Patriots, just about got to the Super Bowl and were underdogs, and Bill Belichick just absolutely, it was like a defensive masterclass.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like,
you got to run and shoot. I mean, what teams would, not always, but if you're playing against Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills, they can score quickly, right? So you keep them off the field. So you run the ball a lot. You wind the clock down. You keep them off the field as long as possible. You give them minimal chances. So they said in that one Super Bowl where, if you took into consideration halftime as well, they didn't play for nearly 2 hours, the offense. Well, that's what you do. You slow them down. You get,
but it was...
there's always, you'll come up with a wonder player or a wonder play, and within half a season, NFL defensive coordinators have that's what I find fascinating about the NFL. One would say it's like violent chess. It really is.
Yeah.
It's the tactics, the strategy of how we're going to combat this. They do this really, really well. How can we take them out? What do we do? When the Chiefs got beaten on the weekend, how do we beat the Chiefs? What do we got to do? Where's their strengths? Yeah. Well, let's take those away.
And how can they adapt to that mid-game, and what changes can they make? It's fascinating. It really is. One of the things I really enjoyed about the highlights of Super Bowl 25 was it was like incredibly 90s. It had this amazing, because the Gulf War had just started. There's an Apache helicopter flying, like attacking helicopter, like waiting over the stadium. And Whitney Houston sings the anthem, and oh my God, incredible.
That was, I'm going to say, the best anthem at a Super Bowl ever, the Whitney Houston one.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. And the best, we should do this one pod, but the best halftime was Prince, and the best anthem at a Super Bowl was Whitney Houston. Definitely.
I mean, I tell you what, once we get a Patreon set up, a Patreon show where we review the halftime shows, I'm down for that. I'm definitely down for that.
Well, my penchant for all things Canadian, having spent a bit of time over there, right?
Yeah.
Marv Levy is the only fella that's in the Canadian Hall of Fame and the NFL Hall of Fame.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because he coached there. He coached Montreal, I think. Let me have a look. Yeah, the Montreal Alouettes in from 73 to 77.
Great.
And won 2 Grey Cups, which is the Canadian Super Bowl, basically.
What, the Grey Cup or Great Cup?
Grey Cup, as an Earl Grey tea, because he was Governor General of Canada and he donated the cup for the All Canada rugby competition at the time.
It doesn't have quite the same zing to it as Super Bowl, does it? You got Super Bowl on one side of the border and the Grey Cup on the other side. The Americans definitely do
razzmatazz.
The
NFL Championship for years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then the first Super Bowl was the AFL NFL Championship game.
Yeah, it needed a bit of work.
Yeah.
Let's kick that around a little bit.
Wasn't it one of the TV execs' kids had a ball? Because they quite often, you had bowls in college football, the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, right? And he had one of the TV exec's sons, I think I'm right in saying this, I might be completely wrong, had a bouncy ball called a Super Bowl.
No.
And he went, Super Bowl. Wow, this is, that's how it started, apparently.
It's as easy as that.
I might have dreamt it, I don't know.
Yeah, you can spend too much time thinking about a name, can't you? Why don't we just call it the Super Bowl? Yeah, okay, cool.
As a disclaimer, I will come up with facts often that may not be the case, but I think that is.
Yeah, if my brother-in-law's listening, don't send me a text about this, mate. Okay,
yeah.
I don't need it. But look, anyway, they stayed in the game. It was 2019, a super close Super Bowl, and they drive down the field with the last drive of the game, and with 5 seconds to go, 8 seconds to play, they spike the ball, 47-yard kick.
Oh, God.
And out comes the kicker, Scott Norwood, a man who
was such a thoroughly decent bloke as well.
And the star of this documentary, really, because it's a heartbreaking story. I mean, he comes out the week previous. He'd done a newspaper article. They'd asked him, what if you have to kick to win the Super Bowl? He said, bring it on. I can do it. I'm ready for it. He comes, 47 yards. I mean, nowadays, people kick 47 yards for fun. But I would say back then, a 47-yard kick was by no means a safe bet. That is a long kick back in the day. As well. Yeah. So, there's, kicking now has become kind of like 60-yard kicks are quite normal, and people expect kickers to make them. But that's with, people have spent a lot more time on technique and technology.
You'd have had to kick a game ball back in the 90s. These days, you kick a kicking ball. There's a different ball.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're taking a place kick, there'll be a K ball in a separate bag, inflated properly, nice and clean and dry, all that sort of stuff. You kick you kick a K ball, right? But he still would slot that 9 times out of 10 from 47.
And famously, it was wide right. That's the call. It's wide right, and the Buffalo Bills lose the Super Bowl.
This is the thing about team sport, right? And I played, rugby was my thing. I'm not going to say I don't get frustrated with teammates over the years. I have done, right? But if anyone blames Scott Norwood for that loss, in the previous 59 and a half minutes of 60 minutes of playtime, right? It shouldn't come down to that. You have to make that kick. Because if you tackled better or defended the pass better or managed the clock better or caught better or ran better or blocked better or thrown better, you'd win a game. But it's just such a visible position, the kicker.
And Scott Norwood says this. He says all of his team said all those things to him, and they said it wasn't on you. But it's a mad. What is mad about the role of the kicker, though, is when you're sitting in that dressing room at the end of the game, you look around that room, there are men who are beaten, who are bruised, who are bloody, who have put their bodies through this physical hell. You look at what they go through in a game, it is insane. And then you have this kicker who doesn't get touched, who never has to do a tackle at all, this pristine skinny guy who just comes on. And there was an instant, I think it was last season, with the Cincinnati Bengals, where they were down 2 points and they got it within range, and the field goal kicker came out and missed. And Joe Burrow, the quarterback, is on the sidelines, and Mike picks him up. He's not supposed to have been picked up on a mic. And he turns around and he's walking back to the bench and he shouts, "One fucking job." And, we can beat that. But Whether you like
but
it
his
or
job is not to throw interceptions.
whether you like it or not, deep down, I think most outfield players feel that way about the kicker.
Yeah, they do.
And whether whatever they say, that like you have got one job, and that is, it's an insane psychologically the pressure that those guys are under to do that.
Did you see Larry David a few weeks ago? Just basically saying he's a big football fan.
Yeah.
Just he doesn't get why there's kicking in football. Just don't have it.
Just
don't
get rid of
have
the kicks.
Get rid of the posts. You don't need them.
Yeah, it's a compelling case. He makes a really good point. Because
no love.
Like, what is this? Who is this guy? He's playing a different sport. Like, they're all playing this sport, and then out comes this person who you're not allowed to touch. And just has this one thing. It'll be interesting to see whether, like Harry Kane's talked a lot about his ambition when he finishes playing soccer is to go over and try and make it as an NFL kicker. It'll be interesting to see if he manages. Yeah, that's his ambition. So when he finishes in Germany,
Paul Thorburn, who played rugby for Wales, he's got the longest rugby union kick. 86 season against Scotland, and I was there for that kick. Me and my mate Nicky were at the game. I was 14. But he came on, I think, the second American Bowl preseason game in 87, maybe. 86 was the first one at Chicago, Dallas. He came in for the second one. And he was going to do the kickoff and maybe look at an NFL career.
Yeah.
Just fluffed the first kickoff.
Oh, no.
And then, and they were trying not to laugh, the commentator. And Thorburn's a great bloke and a very good rugby player and a great kicker, but it's just a different skill, man. It's a very different skill kicking a football.
And so wide right happens, and it's the first, and I think it's the only time ever, I think, that a Super Bowl has been lost on a kick, and I don't think that's happened since, where it's come down to a missed field goal in the Super Bowl. And he lives, and whenever he's interviewed, it's a man he's still living with that moment.
I feel so sorry. I've seen him in interviews. I feel so sorry for him.
Every day for the rest of his life. And there's a very emotional scene. They have a victory, not victory parade. They have a homecoming parade. Sorry, all of Buffalo turn out. Buffalo, it reminds me a bit of Newcastle United. You know, when you think about those fans, like there's lots of shots of like shirtless men in really cold weather who will back their team no matter what. Yeah, and never, have, certainly through that.
Bill's Army.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's who they remind me of. And like, die-hard fans, they all turn out. And there's this really emotional moment where the team are there and the crowd start chanting, "We want Scott, we want Scott." And he comes out and he says the love that they showed him, in spite of what happened, he said, was absolutely incredible. And it's really emotional stuff to watch. It really is. But the Heartbreak doesn't let up. They go back. They say, we're going to go back. Marv Levy, says this incredible bit of poetry to them. I am hurt, but I'm not slain. Lay me down and I'll bleed a while. Then I'll rise and fight again. Which is stirring stuff.
Work on the game plan, Marv.
When you know what happens to them, they're like the
poetry.
They're like the Black Knight in Monty Python. It's like no.
We just shipped 40 points, you poetic bastard.
I'm going again. He's got his poetry book out again. Oh God.
Oh God. We're getting tonk, boss.
4 years' time, he's really clutching. Incy Wincy Spider. I don't know. I've done most of the poems in here. 4 years.
Oh, fuck off with the Gruffalo. The Gruffalo Bills over here.
The Gruffalo Bills. I'm having it.
I just thought that. Where's that been all my life?
Don't mind that one bit. They go back the next year. They're driven by that. Like, we're going to get back. Hold on to Scott Norwood. What's that?
New poem, same result.
Yeah, exactly. And they're up against the Redskins this time round. And it's quite interesting. You know what I think's absolutely incredible?
I wandered lonely as a cloud. Fuck off.
That's the big problem that no one's prepared to say. Marv Levy was just a poet. He wasn't a very good coach. He was just a frustrated English teacher.
He was a great coach, Paul.
No, I'm joking. He was a great coach. And in fact, when they lose their second Super Bowl against the Redskins, and they get pretty well beaten, really, the Redskins were a great team that season, Washington. And Marv Levy quotes Churchill that time round. He says, "Defeat is always odious." Churchill.
Churchill won. You better quote Mussolini.
There's an insane moment in this second Super Bowl defeat where it gets to their first drive and they get within striking range. They're in the red zone. And Thurman Thomas is supposed to go out and run the ball, and he can't find his helmet.
Yeah.
And he couldn't enter the game for 5 minutes because he'd lost his helmet.
Someone's getting fined there or sacked.
But this is kind of what keeps coming back and like there's something you'll hear quite a lot, in the modern game with
if you can find your helmet
whilst all around and losing theirs. I'm blaming it on
you. Knock it off, Marv. Buy me another helmet.
Then you are the man, my son.
Oh, yes, please.
Like when you think about what makes, like, say the Kansas City Chiefs at the, in the grips of like what is basically a dynasty at the moment.
Yeah.
They can play badly and win. They did that all last year. They played badly and got to the Super Bowl. And the Pats did it as well when they were in their dynasty. It's like they just have that in them. And this team, when it gets to the big game, the biggest game, they just don't have it in them. And that is that, and psychologically, that all the players talk about it kind of being in the back of their head.
Right? In football, that offense wins games and defense wins championships. And they were at that sort of run and shoot fast, no-huddle offense. But, it was you can't ship as many points as they shipped in some of those games and win games. And when you get to a championship game, you're going to be playing against, and at the time, the NFC was a stronger division, the AFC anyway, a stronger conference, I should say. So you're going to be playing a really, really, really good team. And if your defense is not up to it, and they have Bruce Smith. They have some good players in that defense as well. But
yeah, and to get to a Super Bowl, that is the crazy thing because I know we've said this before, but the thing that the NFL does brilliantly is the league system, where the best teams get through the league system, and then it turns into a cup competition, and you have playoff football, and the Super Bowl. That's where it could be anyone's in the postseason, and you don't see it like. For a team to get to the Super Bowl 4 consecutive seasons, it's a bit like watching a team get to the FA Cup final. Like, great teams don't just get to the FA Cup final because it is a cup competition. On any given Sunday, someone can win. And it's like, for the Bills to have done that, they have to have been a really special team, Yeah. But then something about the Super Bowl, But
look at this, right? So, 4 Super Bowls, what was it? So, the first one, they lost 2019. Right, your defense has turned up there, right? Yeah. You've given away 20 points. The second one, they lose 37-24. Well, 37 is a lot of points to ship.
Yeah.
The third one, they lose 52-17.
That was a thrashing.
You're not going to win a game. No, you're not going to win a game 53-52. Do you know what I mean?
That was the Cowboys. They turned over the ball 9 times in that game.
Fourth one, they lose 30-13. So, you think I always think if you can keep a team to 3 touchdowns or below, right? 21 points and below, and you've got to score a touchdown every quarter, you're going to win a game, right? But they gave away 37, well, apart from the first game, 37, 52, and 30. So, 5 touchdowns. Oh, God. Nearly over 7 touchdowns, over 4 touchdowns. You're not going to win games like that. Doesn't matter how good Jim Kelly is or how good Thurman Thomas is.
That final Super Bowl against the Cowboys, they were 7 up at halftime, 7-0 up.
Yeah.
And they described it. Troy Aikman says we were losing by 7.
The book down, Marv. Step away from the book. Step away from the almanac.
They were so down. Troy Aikman says we were walking down the tunnel, and we were down 7, and they all just looked absolutely. They were done for. It was like they were down and they were fed up. They probably knew they were going to get some poetry.
They saw Marv's big compendium on the way in.
Yeah, and they became like a national joke. Then they became like
they're a good side too. That's the thing, you know.
Yeah, that's the tough
like I said,
thing.
that defense. They were very, and that was a bit of a criticism of the AFC in general at the time. Was they were much more offense than defense. You know, AFL. I remember watching at one point. It looked like the AFC was never going to win a Super Bowl again. So when Redskins, 49ers, Cowboys, thinking, when's this going to end?
Yeah. But that's kind of it felt a bit that way. Now, if you come to like now, like currently, the AFC is seen as a
gone the other way. Patriots,
much strong
Steelers,
yeah. And you look at now, like you look at the big teams, you look how strong the Bills are, the Ravens. You look at like the Chiefs. They're all it's kind of a duke out in the AFC. It's interesting to me thinking about the Buffalo Bills now because, how much that 4 defeats in a row and that kind of label of kind of like perennial kind of not being able to get over the line, kind of perennial losers. The Bills now have a team that should be, their Super Bowl window is very much open. They've got Josh Allen,
He's a great player. He is
one of the great quarterbacks. One of the big 4 that are currently playing, but they're in the same conference as Mahomes and the Chiefs. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Joe Burrow and the Bengals. But they've won their division. Like the Bills have won their division. I think for the last.
No, they're the Jets. No, you're right. Yeah.
They've won their division for the last 6 years. So since 2020, they've won their division and then they haven't got through the postseason to a Super Bowl. And so they're back in this kind of pattern of not being able to quite get over the line. They've not even got back to the Super Bowl.
They got in the division, not the conference. In the division, they've got Jets, Patriots, and Dolphins. Well, Dolphins, I think, are a bust this year. Sorry, Dolphins fans.
Yeah.
Patriots, probably a bust as well. Jets, I mean,
could be
a good year for the Bills in the division anyway. At the moment, they're the only. There's only one game in, but they won. The other 3 teams lost in the first week. But in the division, you got some. In the conference, you got some,
and that's
strong
it.
talent.
And they just can't get past that. They can't get to a Super Bowl again. So it feels, it was interesting. We picked this topic last week. We said, let's do the Bills and their 4 Super Bowl defeats. And then just before the start of the season, Sean McDermott, who's the current Bills coach, in a press conference brought up the Bills and said, like, he doesn't think he'll see another team go to 4 consecutive Super Bowls, which is interesting because that's what the Chiefs are trying to do this season. Well, obviously, the Chiefs have won 2 of theirs, so it's like but they have to get past, they have to find a way. And, this kind of great team with Josh Allen at the helm, they've got to find a way to break through and get to a Super Bowl. It is a weird
quirk of the NFL because you've got a conference system.
Yeah.
The Packers, there's 15 teams. The Packers will never play in the Super Bowl, right? Just the way that it works. You think, and we watching that, we talked about Dallas the other week, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Dallas and San Francisco were easily the best 2 teams in the league for a long time.
Yeah.
But that was never the Super Bowl.
And they were having these huge NFC championship games, and everyone kind of would say, well, whoever wins this is obviously going to go on and win the Super Bowl. And more often than not, that was the case. And now it feels that way. I mean, I know it wasn't the case last year, but when you see these kind of huge Ravens, Bills, or Chiefs, like Bills, these kind of huge matchups involving Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, you kind of go like, that's it. to my mind, it is a slightly flawed system for that. But then, it would be remarkable if this current Buffalo Bills team and Josh Allen don't ever get to a Super Bowl. It feels like that would be remarkable. And yet, for the last 6 seasons, they've got into the postseason and not got over the line. And you must start to feel like psychologically, is that in their DNA as a franchise?
Put the shoe on the other foot. Imagine being a Buffalo Bills fan, a young fan in the 90s who's now sort of my age, right? If in 20 years' time they did win a Super Bowl, it would be the best feeling of your life. Just to get that monkey off your back as well. There's one thing to never win a Super Bowl, to never be in a Super Bowl. But I think to have been there 4 times.
Yeah.
You can't talk about, when we went through with ideas for the pod for, going through the franchises.
Yeah.
As soon as you say Buffalo, I mean, there's 2 things you can talk about. One's O.J. Simpson. I don't really want to talk about him. And then there's losing 4 Super Bowls in a row.
Yeah.
And they've had such good players, over the years, good players, great city, bang into their football. Yeah, it's a weird one.
Agreed. I mean, I really like the Buffalo Bills as a.
I'd love to.
And you watch this documentary. I highly recommend it. Like the 4 Falls of Buffalo.
Josh is a class player too. I mean, unless they're playing the Packers in the Super Bowl, I would love to see the Bills win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it'd be incredible it'd be incredible. And a real victory for poetry as well.
Oh, huge. I mean, get Marv Levy. And if you do win one, I know that just the man to write the poem for you.
There's a really emotional, just to wrap it up, Don Beebe, who was a wide receiver for the Bills and had been to all 4 Super Bowls. He went to the Super Bowl with the Packers and won.
Yeah, he did.
In 96. And he said his overwhelming emotion, he was on the pitch and won, and the first thing that came into his head was his Bills teammates and a feeling of guilt and like, oh, I wish they could be sharing this as well. And he said he feels guilty almost that he was the one who got to experience that. It's just like an incredible thing to hear, really, like a very emotional thing to hear.
Well, they're just like, I mean, Jim Kelly's such a great, all the shit he went through. The cancer, and and he's in the doc, and he's had an awful lot of treatment and therapy and surgeries and stuff, but he's still keeping on. And Marv Levy, great bloke, 100, yeah, they're full of good characters, and that's football, though, isn't it? That's football. Yeah. No one is owed a Super Bowl.
No, yeah. Do not go gentle into that good night.
Am I being sacked? Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, yeah, you are being sacked. That's what we meant to say. Yeah. Awesome. Well,
you're like, go gentle or don't go gentle. But you're going into that dark moment.
just go. Basically.
Dylan Thomas there, mate.
Beautiful. Well, I think that's another one in the books. Victory formation, Bubs. Should we take a knee?
Yes, big time. We'll take a knee now. We'll take a knee.
Happy days.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.